We are not just teaching a subject, we are preparing the future of our society. Kung anong klaseng mga leaders meron ng Pilipinas 20 years from now greatly depends on how we are preparing these people inside the classroom now. Think about it. These kids inside your classroom now, grade 1, grade 2, grade 10, they are the ones who are going to be 20 years from now presidents of companies, congressmen, senators, even president of the Philippines, probably 30 years, 40 years down the road. And so, kung kayo ay punong-puno na with the kind of leadership we see today, we know some congressmen do not deserve to be there. Some senators, we deserve better. If you are not satisfied with the leadership that we are seeing, um, well, maybe we could have prepared better the young people. And so this is what we're going to do. We are going to teach to the best that we can because we are preparing the future of Philippine society. You see, our success does not just consist in being able to say, ang galing kong teacher, natapos ko yung textbook. Ang galing kong teacher, I covered the curriculum. I was able to cover the whole syllabus. Nice. That's essential. That's important. But that is not the most important thing. We will be able to say, ang galing kong teacher. At the end of the year, we should be able to say, ang galing kong teacher. I made a difference in the lives of my students. Ang galing kong teacher. My students are better human beings because I formed their character. I taught them math, science, English, sure. But especially, I prepared them to be good and to do good. That's our greater hope. And that's the real success of a teacher, to be able to say that um, this is what we are inviting you to commit yourselves to in this week-long seminar, in this week-long series. Pero may kalaban tayo, and we've already been looking at it. Mr. Salamat mentioned it in his presentations. I went deeper, more deeply into it yesterday. Ang kalaban natin is the technocentric lifestyle of the young people as well as of the teachers. Here are some effects of the technocentric lifestyle that is prevalent among the young especially, but including us, older people, the older generation, the adults. There is what we call the social isolation that happens. And we mentioned it yesterday. A kid today can spend the whole day just with his gadget. If there is no supervision of the parents, for example, then what we are seeing is the young people, ironically, in spite of getting connected more than ever because of technology, they have poorer communication skills. And I don't just mean here the writing and speaking skills, but that too is affected. But especially in this idea of being able to express themselves effectively in real time, communicating face to face, conversations in the real sense of the word, not through texts, not through chats, not through electronic few words, and many of them with contractions. The young people have poorer communication skills in the sense of being able to read body language, social cues. O nga naman, because nasanay sila with texting and emailing and Viber chatting and group chatting. Pero the face-to-face, there is problem. That's according to experts. of course, you now have more and more cases of obesity because of the decreased physical activity, especially among the young people. And then, my dear fellow teachers, sabi ng research, hindi lang ito among the kids, among the young people, kahit tayo affected by this pandemic of sleep deprivation, kulang sa tulog. And this is one of the reasons why dumami ang mental health issues, depression, impatience, kasi kulang sa tulog. And you know it, you and I have experienced it. Pag ikaw ay kulang sa tulog, puyat, pagpasok mo sa classroom the next day, parang you are less patient, less understanding, less uh, with self-control. Kulang. We can easily get upset, easily get angry. We can raise our voice. Yan. Because of sleep deprivation, that is affected. I mean, we too are affected by this. Especially because, as we mentioned, ngayon ang mga bata can wake up at 2 a.m., 2 a.m., and there are more than 1 billion videos to choose from in YouTube, more than 100 channels in cable TV, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, with all the videos available for them. All these are affecting our sleep habits, deprived of good sleep. That's why one of the things that has to be mentioned, teachers, please take care of yourselves by taking care of your sleep, by taking care of your rest. We're not machines. Minsan nagigising ka, parang ang init ng ulo mo, mabigat ang mabigat ang loob mo. Parang pagod ka na, first period pa lang in the morning. Bakit? Look at your sleep habits. Look at your um well, if you've been able to have enough sleep, because that is what is affecting many of us. And then, especially among the young people, ay, sabi ng research, the young people today have attention span that is 1 second lower than that of a goldfish. I don't know how long the attention span of a goldfish is, pero sabi ng research, of the kids, 1 second less than that. That's our problem now inside the classroom. Abay, hindi ka lang kailangang mag-motivate. Kailangan mo to retain the attention of the young people for the next 50 minutes, 40 minutes. Attention span of the young kids is lower than ever. So, we have problems there. And most of that, I mean, much of that problem is especially because of video games addiction, the multimedia, high sensory that they are subjected to, all these available social media, TV shows, well, all the things that they are subjected to, and then the 24-hour music that they many times are connected to because of how do you call this, ganun kasi maraming mga kabataan ngayon matutulog na naka-earphones, yan, subjected to a lot of noise, and all these contribute to poor attention and concentration. And then, of course, now we have more and more cases of cyberbullying. And addiction to gadget, we talked about that yesterday, the struggle to disconnect. And sometimes I do class observations of teachers, especially when we do school accreditation of schools of character. And it is not very nice when I walk along the corridor and I see teachers inside the classroom texting. Texting. Pero pagka yung teacher nakakita ng estudyanteng nagte-text, aba galit na galit, iko-confiscate pa yung cellphone. Pero parang may ano doon, there is no such thing as such an emergency that in the middle of the class, in the middle of a lecture, the teacher would have to stop in order to reply to a text message. So, in other words, itong addiction to gadget, to technology, is not only about the young people. We too are affected by it. And we too are affected by the information overload that is brought about by technocentric lifestyle. And even sadly, worst side of it is there is also misinformation overload. Confusion, difficulty in discerning credible sources from unreliable ones. Fake news has become so much how do you call this? Like a major problem because we, even adults, are affected by fake news. Some people have learned how to use social media to be able to distort reality, to distort truth. Not reality, but the truth. That's why the experts, researchers will tell us we are now living in what we call the post-truth era. Parang now the truth is something that can be fabricated, created, concocted, thanks to social media, thanks to the internet, thanks to Wi-Fi. And it's ironic when now that we are better connected, easily connected with anyone around the world, we are also punished by fake information or false information, which in fact is not the correct term. Misinformation is really not information at all. So that is the kind of world that we are living in. That is the kind of world that the young people are growing up in. If there is no growth mindset, it becomes even worse. Number 9, comparison and self-esteem issues. The research made by character.org last year about the mental health of young people. Number one enemy of mental health of the young people is social media, especially addiction to social media, where they see posts of their friends that really are not 100% truth and reality, because nobody really is going to post your pimple covered face. They will use filter, they will use lighting to make them look brighter, whiter, fairer, more beautiful, with clearer face. That's not really reality, and yet that is what the the young people will be looking at, and they compare themselves with their friends. They compare themselves with their friends who post pictures about their trip to Paris, to Boracay, to Balesin, while they are just at home. They cannot even go out and eat in Jollibee or McDo because. And so what happens? They feel inept, inadequate, their self-esteem is affected. That is the what is happening. The digital lifestyle is worsening the mental health of many people simply because they cannot help compare themselves with their friends who post all those things. And then with TikTok now, there is the prevalence of challenges, this or that challenge, and so they end up getting into risky activities, behaviors. So all these affect all of us, teachers as well as the young people, especially the younger ones. The technocentric lifestyle is negatively affecting all of us. And if we don't have that growth mindset, if we don't have the resilience and grit that we talked about yesterday, it's very easy to get depressed. It's very easy to give up, to quit, and then to be stunted in our growth as human beings. Many years ago, ang tawag natin dito sa television is we used to call it the boob tube, the idiot box. Diba? That's how we used to call television because ang idea is para bang most television shows are inane, foolish, shallow, frivolous, empty. Okay. Especially nung wala pa yung mga Discovery Channel, wala pa yung mga Knowledge Channel, yung mga ganyan, ano? And television was just all about noontime shows. It's all about entertainment. Yan. And so, what happened is a generation of people who have been dumbed down because of television. Now, it's even worse with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, vlogging of people. I mean, you look at the top 20 vloggers, meaning to say with millions of followers, and majority of them are for sheer entertainment, and many of them get into inane pranks that are many times even below the belt. Imagine how those are affecting, especially the young people, as far as mindset is concerned, attitude, outlook, behavior. And it's so sad. It's so sad that you have many young people whose ambition is to make a lot of money by vlogging, by also getting as many subscribers, followers, um, people who will like and share and comment on their videos. Ganun ang naging mindset. We need to combat this by making sure that sa loob ng classroom natin, the young people are able to develop growth mindset. That they are able to grow as a person, as a human being, through effort, through learning, through persistence. Hindi just by ChatGPT-ing, by Googling, by Wikipedia-ing. I mean, okay, yeah, they are good sources of information, but they have to go beyond simply taking in whatever is presented to them. But they should be able, growth mindset means that they, with effort, with persistence, they should be able to get to the truth, even if it means wading through a lot of materials, removing those that are dubious, questionable, or from uncertain sources. It will take a lot of effort. Hindi pwedeng yung the first that will appear of 10,000 articles. Ganon, di ba? You type democracy, and then you click search. You're going to have 152,769 articles in 0.07 seconds. Di ba ganon ang Google? Isasabihin niya how many articles it has been able to find on that topic that you type. No, we have to teach the young people, teka muna, put in effort so that you can learn, and persistence in being able to remove what are unsure or dubious, and be able to only choose those that are good. So that will mean analysis, synthesis, evaluation. They have to make judgments, and all those require effort. And when teachers teach students analysis, evaluation, synthesis, then you are precisely helping them develop, have a growth mindset. So individuals with growth mindset embrace challenges, see failures as opportunities to learn, and are motivated to continuously improve. This mindset fosters resilience, grit, and a love of learning. Ganun ka-importante ang growth mindset that we have to instill and foster and develop among the young people. Para bang ang sinasabi natin, kung hindi natin sila tuturuan to have growth mindset, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow teachers, get ready to have a whole generation of gullible people. As it is, sabi ng researchers, gullibility is at an all-time high, especially because of social media. And you have many people like that who will like, comment, or share an article simply based on the title that appeared on his wall. He does not click it to read the article. Just on the basis of the title, they like, they comment, they share, they condemn the person being discussed there. Ay, teka muna, basahin mo muna yung article. Because there are now people who know how to use clickbaits, especially because monetized ang kanilang channel. So they put there a misleading, even wrong title just to get people to click on the link or just to get people to like, share, comment. That's how it is. And that's why, my dear fellow teachers, mag-ingat kayo sa mga sineshare ninyo sa Facebook nyo, sa Twitter ninyo, sa Instagram ninyo. And if you have TikTok, even more also. Because now there are 40 million Filipinos in TikTok. We have to model. Sabi ng ibang teachers, Mr. Antoy, it's my personal account. Wala ka nang pakialam dyan. Wala nang pakialam ang eskwelahan dyan. My principal should not meddle into my personal affairs. Okay, here's what we need to tell you, ma'am, sir, teacher ka. Whether you're inside the classroom or outside, tinitingala ka ng mga kabataan. Tinitingnan ka ng mga bata. You are practically being studied by the students under the microscope. It's like binabantayan nila bawat kilos mo, bawat galaw mo, bawat post mo, bawat share mo, bawat comment mo. You cannot avoid it. And therefore, what I am saying is, sorry, pumili ka ng profession that is high profile. Teaching profession is a high profile job. High profile in the sense that people are watching us. They're looking at us. And so, mag-share ka ng fake news, it tarnishes your reputation, and the students are going to talk among themselves, si ma'am nga gullible. In other words, growth mindset by itself is something that we too have to model, have to share by our have to show by our example. And therefore, my dear fellow teachers, I want to show you signs that a teacher has growth mindset. If we are to model growth mindset, then we have to know anong ibig sabihin ng teacher having a growth mindset. Number one, a teacher who has growth mindset embraces challenges. We see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. And we become open to trying new teaching methods, technologies, strategies to improve student learning. Teachers, pinakita natin yan during the pandemic. Hindi tayo nag-give up. We could have easily said, sorry, pandemic, we cannot go to school. Shut down the school until, let's wait until magbukas ulit ang until matapos ang pandemic. Can you imagine if we thought that way, we would have waited 3 years without school? Not only do we have walang salary, walang sweldo, walang kakainin, the students would have been deprived of learning. But no, we embraced the challenge and we taught online, even if we were never trained to teach online, even if our training is to be inside the classroom, teaching students face to face. We embraced it. Ang galing. Some didn't survive, unfortunately. Some had to give up teaching altogether. I know some who left the profession because they thought it's not for them. Well, maybe it's not that it's not for them. They did not embrace a challenge. But I know many, even old teachers, who even were sort of allergic to technology, who anyway learned as soon as they could how to use Zoom, how to use Google Meet, how to use Microsoft Teams. They embrace a challenge. They have growth mindset. And we taught students during the pandemic. We taught them fortitude, strength of character, growth mindset because we didn't give up. We cared enough for them that we did our best. Sure, in the beginning, ang daming palya-palya, palpak-palpak, nagsasalita ka ng 5 minutes only to find out nakamute ka pala the whole time. We didn't know how to use the share screen, yung mga ganyan. No? But anyway, we did it. You know, the hardest teachers to train, and I've been doing teacher training ever since 1992 when I founded a school in Iloilo City, Westbridge School. The hardest teachers to train are those who feel wala na silang matututunan pa. Alam na nila lahat. Yan. Yabang ano, may mga ganong klaseng teachers. Yung bang parang pagka pina-attend mo ng seminar, masama ang loob nila. Naiinis sila. Galit sila. At saka parang when they go to the seminar, para bang they're walking to their death row. I mean, para silang death row inmates who feel like they are being led to the torture chamber. Yan. So, walang growth mindset yun. They are not open to learning new things. Persistence. A teacher with a growth mindset is persistent. And that's what we did during the pandemic. We were persistent in being able to teach, being able to get the lessons across. We persevered. We put in effort and hard work. We, even if it meant additional work on our part, even if it meant um, asking for some teachers, they have to ask their grade 5 kid to teach them how to use the the computer, the laptop, and how to use the microphone and how to use the camera. Ayan, no? Kasi yung mga bata alam nila eh. They're more expert, but they did it anyway. Even if there is no additional pay, additional salary for learning this new technology on a Saturday or on a Sunday. That's modeling growth mindset. And so, if we are going to not just model this, but teach this to our students, we should never fail to talk about this. Class, please put in the effort. Class, I know this lesson is difficult. You have to work hard to do many exercises so that you are able to understand it. Please study hard. Don't just cram the day before the exam. Dapat laging lumalabas sa ating mga bibig itong mga ganitong klaseng reminders para sa ating mga estudyante. Please, class, don't cram. Don't resort on shortcuts. Exert the effort. Put in hard work. It's for you. It's for your grade, and especially it is for your future. Now, here's another very strong trait of people with growth mindset: openness to feedback, even to correction. Teachers with a growth mindset are open to receiving feedback from colleagues, from students, and administrators. If you're a first-year teacher at hindi nag-observe ng klase mo ang supervisor, ang principal, ang subject coordinator, ikaw mismo ang kumausap sa kanila at magsabing, "Ma'am, can you observe my class? I want to know if I'm doing right, if I'm doing well." That's a growth mindset. Being open to feedback, seeking feedback. I would make my students, before the end of each quarter, and we would have, or well, if your school still follows the quarterly arrangement, I would make my students write a feedback. Give me feedback. On a 1/4 sheet of paper, please write down what you think will make the class better. What you think will make you do better in the exams. What you think we can improve on. Sure, some of the students may use that feedback form or feedback the that exercise to quote unquote get back at you by, I don't know, maybe saying, especially because I would make my students, I would tell my students, please don't write your name. Don't write your name. I will not take it against you, whatever you write there. But write down what you think will make the class better, what you think will make you do better, get better grade, that is, get the lesson more easily understood. Whether it is in my teaching or the way we have activities inside the classroom. As I said, yeah, be ready with some of them using that feedback to get back at the teacher because they are doing poorly and they want to put the blame on you. But majority of them may actually come up with good ideas, and not only good ideas, but may even wake you up to the reality. I never realized na mabilis ako magturo, that I don't answer questions. Sabi dito ng student, I hope sir answers our questions, devotes more time to opening the floor for Q&A. So, a teacher with a growth mindset would be ready to hear anything of that sort. But the important thing is to be open to that feedback, because that is the only way we can become better. In fact, I mentioned teacher observation earlier. The only most effective way to become better teachers is through coaching. When a fellow teacher, or better yet, a veteran teacher, observes us and then is able to tell us, you tend to do this, avoid it. You tend to be harsh when you reprimand a student. Be conscious of that. You tend to teach like, yung klase mo kanina, grade 10, pero parang the way you talk to them is parang you're talking to grade 3 kids. The only way we will realize it is when somebody points it out to us. My 30 years as a teacher trainer from 1992 when I started that school, all the way to now when I go around the country giving seminars to teachers, showed me that really many times it is only through direct feedback, observation, that we will be able to improve our craft. The hardest teachers to train are those who think napakagaling na sila, napakagaling na nila, wala na silang matututunan from anyone else. Arrogance, pride, many times is the biggest hurdle to becoming the great master teachers we can possibly be. We need humility. In fact, here's something I need to tell teachers. Pag ikaw ay binigyan ng correction ng principal, ng supervisor, ng subject coordinator, or even by a fellow teacher, but especially by your administrator, pag ikaw ay binigyan ng correction or even reprimand, alam mo, you have to be grateful. You have to be thankful because ibig sabihin, umaasa pa sila na ikaw ay gagaling pa. Let me tell you, in my years as an administrator, I have seen cases like this. Sasabihin ng administrator, yung teacher na yan, talagang wala nang pag-asa yan. Hindi bali na. Palampasin mo na lang. Hindi na natin i-renew by the end of... Patapusin na lang natin yung school year. And so the principal, the administrator, will not even bother to correct, to reprimand, to point out, patapusin na lang natin yung school year. They've given up. I mean, I've seen that. Administrators actually giving up already on a teacher. And then, anyway, wala pang tenure. Anyway, hindi pa yan permanent. Tapusin na lang natin yung school year. If they stop correcting us, it's a sign that they have given up on us. Either that or we become perfect. Or we have become master teachers. And if we become master teachers, then most likely we should be hearing the principal telling us, can you mentor this other new teacher? Or the principal will tell the other teachers, I encourage you to observe the class of Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, because that is how to be a great teacher. So openness to feedback is a sign of growth mindset. Continuous learning. When the principal, the administrator tells us to attend a seminar, to attend a workshop, we want to go there because we can learn. We will be able to learn. We will be able to grow. That's growth mindset. Professional development. We always look for it. And if, by the way, your school has no budget for seminars and workshops, you know what I will do if there is nothing scheduled, there is nothing in the calendar? I'm going to ask permission from the master teachers. Ma'am, can I sit in your class and observe? I want to know how you do disciplining, how you do classroom management. Bakit the students always speak highly of your professionalism? Libre yan, walang bayad yan. Hindi mo kailangan mag-imbita ng speaker. You learn from the master teachers, from the great ones who have been there for years and year after year make an impact in the lives of their students. But it's got to be like that. Otherwise, we can go to the internet and look for all those fantastic materials for professional development. And in fact, there are so many YouTube channels that give free seminars for teachers on any topic. How to do the art of questioning, how to develop the higher order thinking skills. There are so many available there. In my YouTube channel, which many of you have access to because that's where we've been posting the past sessions, the recordings of the past sessions, just type in Man Rentoy in YouTube and you already have there more than 200 seminars available on classroom management, how to develop grit, resilience, empathy, how to create a kind and caring classroom, how to prevent bullying in your school. All those seminars, webinars, recordings of webinars are available for free there. And my channel is not even the best among the teacher training resources. There are so many available. What is missing many times is our desire to continuously learn, to continue growing. That's growth mindset. And then, dapat lumalabas lagi sa ating mga bibig. Reminding our students to grow, not to fail to mention. Remember what we said yesterday from Tom Licona. Practice what you preach, but don't forget to preach what you practice. That is a very important thing. Dapat lumalabas lagi sa ating mga bibig. Class, come on. Effort. Work hard. You will be successful if you will put in the effort. That's the encouraging growth mindsets or growth in our students. To even have it as a mantra, one of our teachers here mentioned there in her comment, they have mantras, quotation that they repeat, maybe that they write on top of every paper that they submit, 1/4 sheet, 1/2 sheet, 1 whole sheet, or test paper, on top the mantra for the week or for the month, the motto for the week or for the month, as a constant reminder to show that the school is really interested that you develop growth mindset. And then adaptability, another trait of a teacher with a growth mindset. Kaya nating mag-adapt. One of the things that we need to adapt to is with a change of generation of kids. Especially for those of you like me who have been inside the classroom for decades. Nakita natin kung paano nag-iiba ang mga estudyante. And the kind of students we have now inside the classroom, it's so different from the kind of students we had 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Many things are still the same. You know, these are kids. These are immature people. Kaya nga nagpupunta ng eskwela because they still need to grow in their maturity, in their developmental, in their psychology, in the way they think. And that's why they're coming to school. So one of the things we need to be able to adapt to is with this new kind of kids, new kind of generation of students that we're dealing with. And then most importantly, teachers, please believe that every student can be successful. And that's a teacher with a growth mindset. Never give up on any one of them. Even, Sir, Mr. Antoy, kahit yung estudyante na yan napasaway at ang tigas ng ulo at saka parang gusto mong sabihin, saang lupalop ng impyerno ka nang galing, bata ka? Yung bang, I'm sure you've experienced this. You enter the classroom and then you look around and then you realize, oy, absent si Jan. It's gonna be a great day today. Thank you, Lord. Absent si Jan. Para bang you've given up on Jan. Kasi alam mo na pag nandyan si Jan, masakit ang ulo mo, problemado ka, you will have to call his attention 10 times. You will have to get him to keep quiet, stop talking, sit up straight, eyes on the board, listen here. You get tired. But yes, I'm saying including Jan. Believe that that guy has potential, can still be successful in spite of whatever, wherever, at whatever stage he or she is in at this moment. All of them can grow. And then let's research on it, how to help a student with that kind of behavior. There are, by the way, materials that are available like that. A talkative student, how to go about dealing with a talkative student. But of course, all these things will be solved if you know how to manage the class. That's the reason why I meant, those who were here before the start of the session, I was showing the May series that we are running entitled Stop Disciplining and Start Managing. I'm not saying hindi importante ang disciplining. I'm not saying we will not discipline the students. No, I'm going to follow the principle of Harry K. Wong, author of First Days of School, which has sold more than 5 million copies, the best book available on classroom management. And his principle is, if you know how to manage, you don't even need to discipline. That's why stop disciplining and start managing. How to get John to do what you want him to do without you ever having to resort to shouting, screaming, yelling, getting angry, getting upset. And that's what I was talking about earlier when our principal, administrator corrects us, even reprimands us. That's good. That's a good sign. They are after our growth, our improvement. And we appreciate it. Okay, kung merong parang objection tayo to the correction, we talk it out. I mean, we express ourselves, but then we try to look at things from their point of view and, oo nga, I can do it better. I can improve. It can greatly help me. So, those are all signs that a teacher has growth mindset. Pero it's also good to see what are the signs that the teacher does not have growth mindset. Well, really, most of them, I mean, most of these are just opposite of what we mentioned already. They avoid challenges. Ayaw nila ng challenge. Fixed mindset ba? Tapos, every time the principal, the administrator, the subject coordinator introduces a new strategy, a new challenge, ayaw nila, galit, critical, magchichismisan sa faculty room. They will say bad things about the... So, fixed mindset ang tawag doon. And chances are a teacher like that, not only because of arrogance, of pride, lack of humility, will not grow, but will become part of the problem. And we're mature people here. Alam natin yan. Minsan, may ganyan tayong teachers in a faculty. Nagiging pasaway, sakit ng ulo. Especially pag may ganong klase, fixed mindset na uh, shortcut lagi ang gusto lang. Minimalist. In fact, I think that's also one of the signs that a teacher does not have a growth mindset. Fear of failure. Because with a fixed mindset, para bang overly concerned about making mistakes or experiencing failure. Ang tingin nila, in fact, sa mistakes is it's a sign of incompetence rather than an opportunity, in fact, for learning or for growth. Limited effort. Ito yung tinatawag nating minimalist. Yung bang mahirapan ka bigyan niya ng extra work, extra load. Sila yung unang-unang magagalit pagka mag-announce ang principal, let's prepare our students for the open house. Ganyan, ano? Please discuss with your class how you can make the classroom more welcoming because we will have an open house. Ang isip kagad nila, dagdag trabaho na naman. Ano yan? Pupunta kami dito ng Sabado para lang magkaroon ng classroom decoration, mag-practice ng dance number for the program. Yan. Diba? Of course, the opposite of that, we have seen among many of our co-teachers. You teachers are not just teachers. Some of you are choreographers, classroom decorators, para kayong architect, designers, ganyan. I mean, you do so many things. Some of you even become, anong tawag dito? Yung trainer para sa sabayang bigkasan. Ha? Kayo pa ang nagko-choreograph. Ayan. That's a great teacher. Yung hindi nagbibilang. Para bang hindi nagbibilang, ay, wala na yan sa um, workload ko. Dagdag trabaho yan. So, a teacher without growth mindset, yan, minimalist. Yung fixed mindset na, why will I put more effort? Why will I put more time? Why will I put more... A teacher without growth mindset just always keeps effort to the minimum. Resistance to feedback. In fact, ang tingin niya sa feedback lagi is parang putting down. Ay, hindi. Teka muna. Many times when we are corrected, it is so that we avoid negative things that we do, remove bad habits that we may not have realized we have, and work on certain traits that will make us better teachers, more effective teachers, um, more of a master teacher that we all want to be. That's a sign that the teacher does not have growth mindset, ayaw na napapagsabihan, resistance to feedback, fixed beliefs about abilities. Magaling na ako, kaya ko na yan. Ba't kailangan ko pa? That's a fixed mindset. Yung bang parang ang isip nila, um, satisfied na sila sa lahat ng kanilang kakayanan, sa kanila, lahat ng ginagawa nila. Lack of adaptability. Especially yung binanggit natin kanina, one of the things that we have to be able to adapt to is the kind of kids we have right now. Sure, I said many things about this generation of young people, mindset, technocentric lifestyle, etc. But please keep in mind, what I have been saying is they are changing, but we have to continue being the best teachers we can possibly be for them. Okay? What we are saying here is we have to be able to connect with them even if ibang klaseng tao na sila. Even if ganyan na sila ngayon. So, yung nag-viral video ng teacher, tapos yung thousands of comments, I don't know if you're part of Tambayan, DepEd Tambayan, where you have 700,000 teachers in that Facebook page. Yung mga comments ng 90% of the comments of teachers I saw were condemnation of the kids today because of the discipline they have or the lack of discipline they have, the kind of attitude they have. It's condemning the young kids. Teka muna, kaya nga tayo teacher eh. At kaya nga sila estudyante pumapasok ng eskwelahan natin because kailangan natin silang turuan. We have to continuously look for better and better ways to be able to connect with them. Let's adapt. That's one of the most important things that we have to be able to adapt to, being able to connect with this generation of people now. And then here's another very bad sign na walang growth mindset ang isang teacher. Low expectations. Yung sasabihin mo, wala ganyan na talaga ang mga kabataan ngayon. Ay, hindi. We still need to prepare them to be the future congressmen, future senators, future president of the Philippines, future presidents of companies. Okay, average people, future workers who will make a difference in the world and make the world a better place. That's what we have to do. We have to set high standards. We have to continuously set high expectations, which, by the way, is one of the top 3 traits of effective teachers. Educational Leadership is the #1 magazine for teachers. And they made a 50-year study. I mean, it's a study they made that spanned 50 years studying teachers, spanning 50 years. They asked thousands of teachers and students, what are the top traits of effective teachers you have ever had in your life? And they gathered them together after interviewing, surveying thousands of people, spanning 50 years. Top 3 came out. #1, effective teachers are good classroom managers. That's #1. And the #2 is this precisely. Effective teachers have high expectations. They have that firm belief that students can be successful. We have to set high expectations. One of the worst things that a teacher can say is to enter the classroom and then say, class, kalahati sa inyo dito siguro hindi papasa. That's one of the worst things that a teacher can say. And that's going to be prophetic. If you have low expectations of your students, chances are they will also deliver with that kind of low expectation that you have. That's a sign of absence of growth mindset. And then, similar to what already we mentioned, blaming external factors. Wala kasi ganyan ang mga bata ngayon. Wala it's the environment. Wala kasi ang parents absentee. Wala sila sa bahay. Hindi sila nagsusupervise. Overseas workers ang parehong mga magulang. We look for all these things to blame for the poor performance, for the poor results of the students. Ay, hindi. These things are all reality. Sabi ko nga sa inyo kahapon, the reality of it is we have more and more students now entering our classroom and they come from dysfunctional families. What do we do now to help this kid, to help this person to be successful in spite of the external factors? So those are all signs that the teacher does not have a growth mindset. We need to develop growth mindset in the student because here, 4 things that growth mindset does to a student. It enhances motivation and resilience. It will make the students do better academically. This is the key to making them lifelong learners. And the number 4, I mentioned already, we are talking about this because we are not just interested to see the students pass a test, pass a subject, or pass a school year. We are interested in seeing them grow up to be men and women of character who will do good and be good, whatever subject we are teaching. That's why we want to develop growth mindset in them. Yeah, Mr. Condat is here with the teachers from Kawayan, Isabela, right? Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, sabi ko kanina, modeling. Uy, the only effective way to teach character is to do the example of our life, including growth mindset. That's the only way that the young people will be able to develop growth mindset when they see the teacher himself, herself, displaying, modeling growth mindset. And we will do it in the same way that we talked about earlier of how we can develop it in ourselves. Giving constructive feedback, highlighting progress, and celebrating small wins. That is how we will be able to develop growth mindset in the students. That, well, we're going to get into more concrete things we can do inside the classroom. That's why the teacher, think about it, we are called more than just a teacher many times, a dream builder. We help the students achieve their dreams. We are enablers, influencers in the good sense of the word, mentor, guide, coach, and yeah, hero. Teachers, that's what we all are. We are not just math teacher, science teacher, English teacher. We help these young people discover their best potential and help them to become the best version of themselves. It's a cliche, I know, but that's the only way to put it. Okay, I want to inspire you because many times teachers, ang kailangan lang talaga natin is ma-inspire. I mean, The fact that you're here, how many are we in the room right now? We are 105 inside the room right now. We are teachers because we want to make a difference in the lives of our students. We want to make an impact. We are here because we are not just after the certificate. Di ba? Binabanggit natin yun. I mean, I'm not even going to deny the possibility that some passed on the link to claim the certificate to a friend, to a fellow teacher, and then sinabihan, fill upin mo lang, makakakuha ka ng certificate. Okay, I'm not discounting that possibility, pero nakasulat dun, di ba, sa, when you fill up the form, honesty and integrity, please. Yan. So, konsensya na lang nila yon kung kumuha sila ng certificate na hindi naman nila pinanood yung video or hindi naman sila talaga nag-attend. But you're here. You're here because you really want to make a difference in the lives of the students entrusted to your care. So, I want to inspire you. Let us be inspired. Here are 5 reasons why we have a great impact on our students. Number 1, given na yon. Kaya tayo nagtuturo because we want to give them knowledge and skills. Diba? That's why we teach them subjects. That gives an impact, that leaves a mark in the students. Some of them, maybe it's because of the subject we teach them that they will decide to choose this or that profession, this or that course in the university. Ang lakas ng impact natin dyan. Because it is here where we will wake up sa mga kabataan yung kanilang talents, abilities, gifts even, dun pala sa subject natin. But more than that, the reason why we have an impact in the lives of the students is because of our mentorship and guidance, because of our timely advice. And many times, advice that we give them, not inside the classroom, not during the subject, but when we meet them in the corridor, when we see them in the dining hall, in the cafeteria, when we see them in the library, when we see them and then we give them an advice, or some of you, I'm sure you've even experienced it, a student coming to you, telling you, ma'am, can I talk to you? May problema ako. Buntis ako. Hindi ko masabi sa parents ko. Anong gagawin ko? I mean, it's a reality. It has happened. You must have, some of you must have experienced it. A student coming to you to open up about something that they cannot even bring up with their parents. Pero they trust you. They see you as someone who will mentor them, guide them, listen to them. Ganun kalakas ang impact natin. And then, we influence their attitude and their values. Truth, the proof of that, look back. There are some teachers that you still remember now. And you will say, my teacher in grade 4, in grade 5, in first year high school, repeated that always, again and again, reminded us about that. Kaya ako ganito ngayon. That's the kind of influence we have on our students. Pati yung kanilang attitude, kanilang values na pupulot nila dahil sa a committed teacher, a great educator. Emotional and social development, which is really character. Our students imitate us. The students tend to imitate their teachers, including their character, including our wrong grammar, I would say before, including the way we speak, the way we talk. Sometimes even those they copy from us. And the number 5, long-lasting impact on career and life choices. Some of us decided to become teachers because of one great teacher or another we had in the past. And that's what a great teacher does. Yung mga estudyante niya sasabihin, galing ni ma'am, paglaki ko gusto ko ganun. Not necessarily to become a teacher, but yes, also the possibility of becoming a teacher. But especially the idea of paglaki ko gusto ko kagaya ni ma'am, kagaya ni sir, nire-respeto, looked up to by people. That when people talk about them, they talk about them with respect, with reverence, almost like with reverence. You heard Mr. Salamat do that when he was talking about Mr. Estrella, for example, considering him as one of his mentors. We too, when we talk of some of our past teachers, some of them we talk with almost like that kind of respect that is almost like a reverential whisper that we mention their names. Ganon kayo. Ma'am and sir, if we work with growth mindset, if we work to be the best teachers we can possibly be, all these five um, reasons will also be attributed to us. We will also leave such kind of impact on our students. Okay, so let's take a look at some right mindset, growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Let's compare them, and then let's see how we can apply in the classroom. And I will do this for the next 10 minutes, and then we will end already. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Encouraging the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. Binanggit natin kanina. Here's a fixed mindset. I'm either good at something or I'm not. Fixed yan. A growth mindset, on the other hand, you should be saying, kaya ko to. I can improve my skills with effort and practice. Now, mahilig tayo minsan magganon. Ay, sir, talagang Achilles heel ko yung math na yan. Hate na hate ko yan talagang math na yan. Um, some people will say that. Ay, that's fixed mindset. Hindi, teka muna. You can improve your skill in math with effort and practice. So, how do we apply this inside the classroom? Ask learners if they have struggled ever to master a skill, and then that they improved in time, over time. Examples like playing the piano, riding a bike, playing an instrument, reading, writing neatly. I mean, all of those, we remember, we started poorly. Nahulog tayo sa bike, naggas-gas-gas-gas pa tayo, we were awkward. Yan. But in time, with practice, with effort, di ba? Gumaling tayo. Nakayanan pa nating magbike na no hands. Look man, no hands. Then, the students will see clearly, ay oo nga, nobody starts out as an expert from the very beginning. Of course not. They are capable of improving. Pero they have to put in effort and time and resources and dedication. You see, we have to talk about this to the students, especially kung meron na silang ganyang klaseng fixed mindset. Hate ko talaga yung subject na yan. I'm really poor in English. That's really my Achilles heel. No, make them see that in life, they have been able to improve in one skill or another. Here's another fixed mindset. When people give me feedback, para akong kinikriticize. That's fixed mindset. Here's a growth mindset. I appreciate it when people give me feedback. It helps me learn and grow. That's got to be instilled rather, in our students. So how? Well, whether at home or in the classroom, don't just give feedback. Ask for it. For example, what I gave you as an example of what I would do every quarter, at the end of every quarter. Class, How could have I made that lesson better? Is there anything I can do to support you more? Write on a 1/4 sheet of paper. You don't have to put your name if you don't want to. If you want, you can put your name. And then just answer that question. How could have I made that lesson better? That's modeling, being open to feedback. And so that the next time you will have to call John and tell John, you have been talkative, you have been misbehaving. Well, um, that's just like giving you feedback as I ask you for feedback on how I can do better. We model gracefully accepting and learning from feedback. What I mentioned earlier, I'm just not good at math. That's fixed mindset. No, here's a growth mindset. Math is challenging. True, it's difficult. It requires effort, but I know I can improve. So let's apply that to the classroom. If a child is struggling with a specific subject in school, provide extra support and track progress. Parents can collaborate with a child's teacher and look for additional resources online or in person. And as the child's grades improve, emphasize how far they have come. Celebrate their hard work and progress and continue to encourage the belief that there is always room to learn and to grow. Fixed mindset. Mahiyain ako, sir. Talagang hindi ko kayang magsalita in front of the class. Growth mindset. With practice, I can become confident, more confident, and improve my public speaking skills. I think I mentioned it to you, if not yesterday, in my session last Friday that was open to the public. When I was in high school, when the teacher would call me for recitation, as soon as tawagin yung pangalan ko, my two knees, yung dalawa kong tuhod, nag-uumpugan sa kaba, sa takot. I mean, I, I never imagined myself eventually ending up giving seminars, talking in front of an auditorium with 5,000 people, as we did in Tarlac, as we did in Siakal, in Camarines Norte, like that. So we have to have, we have to instill among the in the mind of the young people that no, you can become more confident with practice and improve in your speaking skills. So inside the classroom, when children express a specific concern, ask, what steps can we take to work on that? Ano pwede natin gawin para ma-address natin yung concern mo, yung problema mo, yung difficulty mo? If the child is unsure, help them brainstorm. For example, a child who is afraid of speaking in front of large groups can first practice with partners. Dalawahan lang yon. Or in a small group setting, 3, 4 students. As always, celebrate incremental progress and remind the child of how far they have come. Another one, I'm really good. I'm really a good writer. I'm already a good writer. I don't need to get any better. That's fixed mindset. No, a growth mindset would say, I can still always improve. I can still continuously aspire for higher grade or even better outputs, publishable articles in the school paper. There's always room for improvement. So, inside the classroom, with young writers, for instance, you can encourage them to expand their vocabulary or begin incorporating figurative language into their work. Ask them to write paragraphs instead of just a sentence, or have them enter local writing competitions. Parents can introduce additional and enrichment experiences. So that's a very important point. I remember precisely taking advantage of this strategy when I see students with good writing. I mean, para bang batang-bata pa lang, napakagaling na magsulat. I would encourage them, try to get published in Young Blood, in Inquirer. And one of them got published, and it and he was only in grade 6 at that time. And because of that, he wanted to pursue writing. One of them ended up being published in Youngblood, and he went on to be the first Southridge graduate to proceed to Harvard for university. From Southridge High School, he went to Harvard, um, and um, finished studying there, and now he is working in Boston, Massachusetts. He found a job there. So challenging them, the idea of, no, I'm already good enough. Okay, we can still continue to challenge them. Okay, it's 421. Maybe this will be the last. People who are naturally smart don't need to try hard to succeed. That's fixed mindset. Growth mindset? No, no one is born smart. We all can improve with time, effort, and persistence. Good. Somebody posted there, things are hard before they are easy. That's precisely how things go with life. Okay, so let me begin the closing. Develop growth mindset inside the classroom. Praise effort, not ability. Many times, what we highlight is top 10, and then we post on the bulletin board the grades of the students. That's not the I would rather that we post there most improved from 76. Now he is 85. Ayan, that deserves being posted. That means may effort. That means the guy is really working hard to get better. Praise effort, not just the ability. Foster intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic, that they will work and work hard, grow and develop, not because you're offering a reward, external. Not because you're threatening them with a punishment, external. But because they will own it. They want to be better because they know that's their key to being successful, not just in the subject, not just this school year, but in their life. Embrace mistakes. Encourage students to view mistakes as opportunities for learning and growth rather than as failures. And then encourage reflection. When you keep criticizing your kids, they don't stop loving you. This is a quotation for parents, but can be applied to teachers. When you keep criticizing your students, they don't stop loving you. They stop loving themselves. Let that sink in. And that's why their esteem will be affected. So, my dear fellow teachers, after having seen technocentric lifestyle, the kind of environment that the young people are growing up in, what we are seeing here is, ay, grabe, the stakes are high. We cannot afford to fail. We are preparing the future of Philippine society, of the world. You're not just preparing students to pass an exam, to pass a test, to pass a subject. We're preparing them for the future of our country. That's why at this point, we have to accept, admit, realize mediocrity is not an option. Mediocre teachers have no place inside the classroom. We all have to work on becoming excellent teachers, educators of the highest kind, with impact, making a difference, really modeling what it means to be a good human being, especially because the kind of world the young people are growing up in is like this. And we spent a lot of time talking about what this that I'm referring to. So then, we have reached the end of our session.